We have a real treat for you today. We're in the heart of Bethlehem on Main Street, and I'm here with Neville, the owner of DonegalSquare. Tell us, like, the history. What's the history of DonegalSquare and how you started this up?
DonegalSquare, this is our 25th year in business. It's our third location, and we're actually sitting in McCarthy's Tea Room and Restaurant, which is about 13 years since we opened it. The whole atmosphere and the whole idea behind DonegalSquare and McCarthy's Room is to sort of transport you back to Ireland. That's part of our goal. The shop opened first, and of course I had moved here from Ireland back in 1979. The business opened in 1985, and the whole point behind it was a way for me to go back to visit my family.
So you'd go home and get supplies and get things from Ireland, because I noticed you also have an entire grocery section, which some of those items I've only seen when I visited Ireland.
Sure. Well, I think, obviously if you're going to have a business importing things from Ireland, you may as well have some of the things that you like yourself,
Of course.
Things that I missed, like digestive biscuits and, Branston pickle and HP sauce, that kind of thing, everyday things. But
And just so that we can make that clear, digestive biscuits are actually like cookies.
Yeah.
They're very delicious. I don't know if they have anything to do with your digestive, but that's the name of them. And now let's get into the foods, because here at McCarthy's you have a traditional Irish breakfast. What does that consist of?
Well, we do the traditional things like the shepherd's pie, and we have fish and chips every Friday evening. We make fabulous soups, fabulous breads, bake all of our own, desserts, pastries, sticky toffee puddings.
So something like this, like your scones.
The traditional scone, yeah.
Okay.
Scone, actually, the name Scone actually came from the place in Scotland where the kings were crowned. It was the stone of Scone, and it was the shape that a scone is. So that's
scone, and I've always called it a scone. Yeah. Now this space is huge and it's beautiful. Do you ever incorporate music and have music?
We do. Down here we have a session the third Thursday of every month.
Okay.
And we're just getting ready to start a traditional brunch on Sundays, where we'll have musicians here from 11 to 1 every Sunday.
And I can't wait to go down and look more into your area with all the goods. So let's head down there and check it out.
Very good.
Okay. Now, before we get started with anything, you have to definitely explain to us, what is your attire? I know it's a kilt.
Yeah.
Give us
Well, actually, Bethlehem tartan, City of Bethlehem tartan kilt. And actually the colours that are in this really signify the people who came to the Lehigh Valley, the immigrants from the Celtic lands. So we designed this and we had it woven in Scotland, and it's the City of Bethlehem tartan. It's officially registered, and actually the police and fire in the City of Bethlehem are permitted to wear this as part of their dress during Celtic Classic, for example.
Yeah. What other styles or colours do you carry?
Well, actually, we sell hundreds of different tartans. A lot of them are representative of families, some of them are districts. This happens to be the Irish diaspora tartan, which really is made in celebration of the Irish people who left Ireland at the time of the famine.
Okay. Very heavy.
Yeah, this one, for example, is the USA National. It's done for the US, and of course it incorporates the colours, the red, white and blue. If you look, the pleats are almost 4 inches deep on here. So this is an 8-yard kilt. Pleats are of course worn in the back.
Okay.
And we can do this in many different tartans. We actually have a rental range. We rent the Black Watch tartan and the Irish National. We do a lot of rentals for weddings, proms, somebody going on a cruise, that kind of thing. They want to be really standing, out from the rest of the crowd. And actually the original kilt was just a piece of fabric. This is a more tailored garment. The original ones were just a large piece of fabric that they tied around them and slept in at night on the hills if they were stuck out somewhere, but they were made of wool, so they were very warm. Very
warm, and I think they'd have to be warm because the rumor has it that you don't wear anything under the kilts.
Well, shoes and socks.
Shoes and socks, okay, perfect. Now, what would you wear on top?
Well, I mean, something casual. It could be something like this. I mean, there's a formal tuck shirt, or in the wintertime, if you were casual, it could even be like a fisherman in an iron sweater. This happens to be a loomed one. Each of these stitches on here would have a different meaning, and usually in days of old they would have come from a particular area. So a fisherman who washed ashore, or some of them are knit by hand and even signed by the knitter. So it kind of gives them a very unique kind of flavour.
Absolutely. Oh, and you even have messenger bags here.
Yeah, that's actually, this one's actually made by a company in Dublin, Jonathan Richards. They're a fabulous tweed manufacturer.
Okay, and now we have all this team stuff I see here, but I don't exactly know for sure. I was looking at this earlier. What's this? Oh, you have it.
This is actually called a hurl, and it's one of Ireland's native sports called hurling, and it's played with a leather ball, and it's the game involves holding the ball on the end of the stick. Pretty rough game, a little bit like field hockey in 3 dimensions.
And now it's a popular sport. It's one of the main.
It's a Gaelic. It's a native Irish sport that goes back to over 2,500 years ago. Would have been played with a piece of cowhide stuffed with horsehair and a piece of ash. It's sort of practice for the warriors.
Oh, I'm supposed to be holding it a specific way.
Good. You got that.
Oh, I guess this isn't my sport, so maybe we should move on and look at the rest of the store. With such an amazing selection of everything that you have here, Neville, I was caught by your engagement rings.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Celtic jewelry, obviously, it's a very important part of our business, but we sell a lot of wedding rings and engagement rings, and of course the symbolism on this ring, the Trinity knot.
Which is this right here?
This big one,
okay.
yeah. It symbolizes eternity. We have a bunch of manufacturers in Dublin, in Ireland and in Scotland, and actually we helped them design this one ring, so it's done in either white gold and yellow gold combination or in platinum.
It just looks like a piece of artwork that you're wearing, but then it has all that additional meaning and significance.
Well, I think that's the big thing about Celtic jewelry. It goes back, some of it to before the date of the pyramids even. Some of our things are over 4,000 years old from the inspiration. So these are sort of examples of all different Celtic crosses that are still standing in Ireland. Many of them were built over 1,000 years ago, and of course the Celtic knots that are on these crosses are the inspiration of much of the Celtic jewelry and much of today's Celtic art. Things like the Book of Kells, things with Celtic knots on, things with claddagh on that fit beautifully into a Celtic wedding theme.
And let's talk about the claddagh, because I've bought them myself and I bought them in Ireland. So explain that.
Well,
I know what it is.
The symbolism behind the claddagh ring is that the hands stand for friendship, the heart stands for love, and of course the crown stands for loyalty. And that's a symbol that goes back to 17th century Galway.
And then there's also a old wives' tale that if you have it facing in or out.
If your heart's pointing toward, the heart's pointing towards you, it means your heart's taken. If the heart's pointing away, it means your heart's free. So it kind of can be an open form of advertising for anyone who's on the loose, you know?
Exactly. Okay, so what other places should we be looking here?
Well, I think a lot of our capes and our knitwear are very traditional from Ireland and Scotland, and we even have a company from Edinburgh now who are making tartan Wellington boots, combining with purses and hats and all kinds of things for ladies. So
I know that if people want to learn more, they can go to DonegalSquare.com or Donegal.com.
Yeah, either one works, and all the story on the restaurant, our menu, what we do in the shop, all of our special events. You can also follow us on Facebook or on Twitter.
Oh, you've moved from the history right to the present day.
Well, that's the story in Ireland. I mean, it's an old country with a lot of very high technology, so we have to follow it here as well.
Absolutely. Well, now I'm going to be trying the scone, so we'll see you soon. Thank you very much for joining us.